Hey folks, today I will show you how to install Paperless NGX on Windows using Docker for desktop. 5 simple steps are required. I will explain them step by step, and if you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comments. First step, I will show you how to install Docker for Windows. Then we will download 3 files from GitHub that you will need for the Paperless installation. We will set up the necessary folder path and customize a file. After that, we will start the installation in Windows Powershell. And finally, we will start the container. Every entry and change I make will also be available in the video description below. So you don't have to type anything yourself, you can just copy everything from there and avoid typos. First step, go to the following website and download Docker for Windows. If you don't have the Linux Subsystem installed on your PC, the Docker installation will take care of that. If you encounter any issues, follow the instructions in this link. If you need a more detailed guide to this, please let me know. After that, download the following files from GitHub. Follow the link, click on the 3 dots at the top right on GitHub and select Download. The files will initially be downloaded to your Downloads folder. Now let's determine where we will find the data for Paperless NGX later. This is quite important, as by default, backups which we should make during the use of Paperless will also end up here. In my case, I created a folder called Paperless under My Documents with subfolders named Data and Consume. Place the download files from GitHub in the Paperless folder. Rename the file docker-compose.sqlite-tika.yml to docker-compose.yml. Once done, open the renamed file. You can do this with Notepad++ if you have it installed on your computer, or simply with a text editor. Right-click on the file and then click Edit with Editor. Now look for the first entry volumes in the lines. Here we need to adjust the folder path. These need to match to where you created the Paperless folder. Basically, the path of the Paperless folder needs to be copied before the preset entry there. Only the dot will be overwritten from the preset entry. Once done, save the changes. Now open PowerShell as an administrator. Click on Windows at the bottom left and type PowerShell. Right-click to the entry and select Run as Administrator. Navigate to the newly created Paperless folder. Here we execute the command docker-compose pull. This command only works if Docker for Windows, which we installed earlier, is currently running. Otherwise an error message will appear, so make sure Docker Desktop is running in the background. This will download all the files your PC needs to run Paperless. Once done, enter the following command: docker-compose run --rm web server create superuser. This command sets up the basic settings of Paperless and allows you to make default settings for username, password and email. It's important to write down the name of the superuser and the associated password at this point. You will need this information if you log in the first time, the database crashes, or if you need to restore a backup. Paperless will ask you for these login credentials again in such cases. Finally, you need to start the system. Enter the following command in the command line: docker-compose up-d. This starts the container for the first time. In the future you can also do this directly from the graphical interface of Docker Desktop without using PowerShell. Since we haven't made any changes to the web address yet, Paperless is now accessible via this address. That's a local web server now running in your Docker Desktop environment. As final 2 notes, you should occasionally back up your data. Paperless has a command that makes this very easy. Navigate back with the PowerShell to your Paperless folder and enter the following: docker-compose exec web server document _exporter. In the end you will see that this command exports to a folder within the Paperless folder. I simply copy this folder and move it to a backup drive, but there are also automated ways. If you want to restore the folder, in that case delete the export folder within the Paperless folder, copy your backup export folder back in and enter the following: docker-compose exec web server document _importer. This will import everything including tags, associations, created groups for sorting and all scans you made at the time of the backup. And secondly, I had a problem with virtualization. This is necessary if you're working with the Linux subsystem on Windows. The solution was to enable it in the motherboard's BIOS. Virtualization may be disabled by default in the BIOS and needs to be activated, otherwise Docker Desktop will give you an error message. Do you have any questions? Write them in the comments. Until next time, peace.